And the first reading of the third day of what I think a truly inspiring and perhaps even groundbreaking series of readings of plays from around the world. We are collaborating again with PEN and the great PEN organization and the PEN World Voices Festival, the most significant literary festival in the United States. Over 80 artists are here in town, and I encourage you to also look at the PEN brochure from this year. Some brilliant workshops, conversations are happening. Our contribution is to invite 9 playwrights from 9 UN regions of the world, like North Africa, Eastern Europe, East Asia, or the Caribbean, and to create it for you an overview of voices from around the world. We often do say musicians listen to world music. World music is very important to everybody who is a serious musician, as should be world theater to everybody who works in theater, to know what is going on, but also to be inspired and hopefully also to be in a dialogue with artists. And as we all know, it is really not the case, especially in New York, where we all think it should be taken for granted, but it is not. The festival was founded by Salman Rushdie and Paul Auster at a time of the Bush government. There are only 2 to 3% of all published books, actually were books in translation from international writers. Out of the 2 or 3%, 50 to 60% are French or German. So a whole variety of voices are missing, and this is a contribution to open dialogue. So we really would like to thank all the artists to come here. People traveled from India, from Australia, and from Poland to be with us. 5 of the 9 writers are here. We would like to thank the directors, the New York directors, and also the artists for participating. And it's a true honor for us. And I see some faces of you coming back. They were quite inspiring, brilliant readings so far. I would like to introduce Christine Scafuto, who is our producer of the PEN World Voices series, here as a guest at the Segal Center, and she's going to say a bit more about it. Thank you.
So, hi everybody, thanks so much for coming. So you're about to see a reading of Cogito by Huzir Sulaiman, directed by Mike Donahue, sitting right here in the first row. And I just want to thank Mike for all of your hard work and creativity on bringing this piece to life, and also our actors, Birgit Huppich, Megan Carey, Charles Sokarides, and Jenny Cizone Stern. So without any further ado, let's start reading.
Cogito by Huzir Sulaiman. 1. An old supercomputer, monolithic, flickers into life.
I am Katherine Lee. My program runs for just 2 minutes a week for maintenance and updates, just long enough for me to remember who I am and the fact that I am immortal and that I spend each day wanting to die. There are songs I sing digitally through crisp, clear speakers in the control room here on basement 6 in the most secure facility in Biapolis, a place so anonymous it doesn't even have a code name, much less a name. No signifier, just the signified. Obscene. Silent. I am allergic to maudlin, always have been. Nonetheless, no lips to dryly purse, no throat to wetly house the vibrating sounds, just regular simulated feedback from nerve endings, without physical basis in reality. Very expertly modeled, mind you, in what must be a terribly artful algorithm. Just enough feedback to keep me sane. But can you still be sane without skin? Without skin to feel the wind and sunlight on? I ask you, update me, darling. Where is the street? Where is the house? Where is the girl that I once loved? That is a song. I was that girl. Where has it all gone? I'm a backup of myself. A copy without an original. A halfway point. A cipher. I am and not am at the same time. I am Katherine Lee, and I want to die.
2. Lit separately in different parts of the stage. 2 and 3. Stylish women.
At the crematorium, the lights were far too bright. Probably they tried to make some effort at a soothing ambiance, modulated sounds, the best materials and insulation that nanoengineering can produce. But in the end, hygiene won out. Floodlit, bare, dazzling, all the better for you to confront loss, or be confronted by it. I was supposed to press the button, bloody shit. Empowerment, fucking clever idea. He's been poisoned, yes. You're grieving, yes. But why not consign him to the fire? And quickly, please? I cannot think how I found the courage to do it. There was a strange man who'd come in at the last minute and attached himself to us. He'd been at the wake, a janitor at the Institute, on nodding terms with us, nothing more. Somehow they allowed him into that inner chamber because they thought he was a relative. And perhaps in some sense he was. I was comforted by his surreal presence, bearded, mustached, uncombed hair, sort of professorial aspect. I pressed the button, and the casket slid across the void as we looked down on it, through the doors, and all at once, the heat was terrible. And I thought, well, there are limits to science. And here exactly is where the line is drawn. Obviously, you're not supposed to feel the heat. It's supposed to be kept away from you, like meat in the supermarket, with no idea where it came from, the bloodletting that underpins it. But oh no, you felt the furnace. You glimpsed the inferno. These days, it lasts 1/2 of a second, but it goes on for decades. Was it all in the mind? Nonetheless, the heat. And all I could feel was a yawning blackness, like the light had gone out from the cells of my body. Electrons had stopped spinning in my component atoms. The subatomic particles had ceased their holy tremble. A light had gone out, at once obscene and terrifying, even as the lights blazed overhead, all around, and the expensive, soothing walls reflected them back, harsher than ever.
I opened up his letter to me. Dear Catherine, I had steak for lunch just now on account of how a man needs red meat, and I am, as you well know, a man of manly appetites. In other news, I want to tell you how much I love you, and how much your life being intertwined with my life has meant to me, and how your presence has saved me from all that I fear about myself. I do, as the books put it, feel whole with you. Some terrible fear that used to haunt me is allayed or in abeyance, held at bay by the power of your love. I feel complete. Yes, I feel whole. I feel day by day ever more comfortable in my own skin. You bring me out of myself, out of that horrible, selfish self that has served me so poorly all this life. The way I have stumbled through careers, crashed into invisible fences, rubbed everyone the wrong way. And you, my darling, you've taken me away from all that, with your kindness, with the warmth that everybody sees and adores, with your smile. I owe everything to you, and I love you with all my heart. This was the letter that I read again and again when I found out that he'd been murdered, and quickly cremated, vaporized in a hot, bright oven, brighter than 1,000 suns in a land now foreign to me on the other side of the world.
My name is Katherine Lee. I suppose it's not an uncommon name, but you will understand that it's still a shock to get a message that begins, Dear Katherine Lee.
My name is Katherine Lee.
I have just discovered that you are being described in the media as the widow of Tony Szeto, which I find rather surprising, to say the least.
Because I have been married to Tony for 25 years, since July 2001.
As such, for reasons that I am sure you will not fail to appreciate, I think it is important that we meet in person.
We have a lot to talk about, clearly, though what we cannot speak of.
We must, I suppose, pass over in silence.
The flight was horrible. Could it be otherwise? As soon as you leave the atmosphere and skirt the edge of space, all hope seeps away, and it does not return when you descend.
The waiting was horrible. What do you expect? Of course it was horrible. The light and temperature settings were the same, but the world was different. The definitions of heat and light were different.
I rehearsed it. Hello, I'm Katherine Lee. You must be Katherine Lee.
What would I say? Hello, Katherine. I'm Katherine. Come in, Katherine. Sit down, Katherine. Katherine, would you like a drink? Katherine. Plenty of whiskey left over after the wake.
Katherine, hi. Hi. Amazing. Married to the same guy. What a hoot, eh? Woo, hey. I mean, what the fuck?
3. The home of Katherine Lee and Tony Szeto.
It's good of you to come.
Is it?
Oh, I'm hoping it is.
Well, I heard about you. Well, I thought this is entirely too predictable. This is far too perfect a narrative.
Perfect is not quite the word.
No, don't deliberately misunderstand.
I'm not.
Of course you are.
Go on.
A perfect narrative is in conventional, hackneyed, with a damning revelation at the very end,
I see.
which, with a crash, a massive bouleversement overturns everything.
Bouleversement.
Absolutely
Quite right.
everything, and life will never be the same for either of us, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, how bloody boring that it should be this way.
You thought that, did you?
But I thought we could rescue this from cliché, pull it back from the abyss.
Oh, yes. Why not?
Don't be dry, darling. I beg you don't. Just cast it from the arsenal.
So you propose?
We should do a sort of narrative judo. Make the damning revelation come at the beginning of a new chapter. We should, with our lives, with our very lives, pose the question, how does the story continue when the protagonists know what they now know?
What do we know now? I'm sorry, but what the fuck?
What do we know now? Isn't it obvious?
If you're so clever, why not tell me quickly? If you can't say anything, why don't you get the fuck out? Get the fuck out and die, along with him. Sprinkled in the South China Sea by presidential dispensation.
I'll tell you a story because
Uniquely, stories are what make us human.
You
He
see?
used to say that all the time.
Yes.
Who the fuck are you?
Did you go to Russia 20 years ago?
What?
2006, Russia.
Yes, our 5th anniversary, St. Petersburg, Vladimir, Zuzdal, Moscow.
Karelia.
Yes,
Karelia, northern Russia. Near Petersburg. The island of Kitsy on Lake Inigo.
yes, why?
On the island of Kitsy in Lake Inigo was an open-air museum of wooden buildings in different historical or regional styles, wasn't there? Foreigners were brought there to see the cultural wonders. Wooden buildings, beautiful in the very worthy way that log cabins can be beautiful for a while and then suddenly not after about the 20th damn one. A church with no nails. Yes, wonderful. But tell me, how does Christ get crucified without nails? No nails, no Christianity, right? You found yourself thinking impolite thoughts like that. But with a bright white carpet of spring snow, it was serene, crunchy underfoot. A couple of Japanese skater rats wandering around, and the two of you. Fuck you. You were walking, and he took your hand, and he said, if anything happens to you, we will still be together forever.
He told you what he said to me?
No. No. No, I wish he had. He said it to me. I was there. My name is Katherine Lee. It was me. It's my memory.
Get out.
The sky was vividly blue-gray. There was a salt smell in the air. There were no birds in the sky and no clouds to hide them if there had been. This is what we thought, and this is what we never told anyone. We wondered, where the birds were, why they hadn't come back now that spring was near, and we wondered what it would be like to swoop over the barren landscape and while flying sing a Russian song that he had sung to us the night before, after making love, after showering in a bathroom with slippery marble floors, with Chechen mafioso downstairs in the lobby. An old folk song as a bird might warble. Where's the street, where's the house, where's the girl that I once loved?
That's my life. My memory. My life is my own. Mine. I own the memory. I am Katherine Lee. My husband is Tony Szeto, and you cannot take that away from me.
Can I just tell you, can you just fucking see for a second I'm taking nothing from you that hasn't been taken from me?
You're a liar. You're a liar. What the fuck, you know?
I'm sorry, I really don't relish being in this position.
Relish? The fuck you don't. You're so obviously a liar.
Our 10th anniversary? A conference? He was working, you were angry, I was angry. The consolation prize was the largest suite at the Ritz-Carlton, Bangalore, and 20th Century Films on Demand. The complete oeuvre of Billy Crystal. Shopping for saris and ultrasonic lint brushes, being jostled in the markets. I wondered how religion worked on them to make them so happy. I wondered why it had never taken root with me. It troubled me.
What?
You've never told anyone. I know. I never told anyone. 15th anniversary, Brussels, and the opening of Zaha Hadid's Palace of the European Republic. Contraband foie gras in the 3-star underground. Boredom, finally, and guilt for feeling bored. Guilt for Tony's hundreds of millions. Would it have been different if we'd had children, I wonder? 20th anniversary, the bomb. The maglev train in Algiers, jackknives. The track buckling, blown up by anti-technologists. My head smashes through a window. It's Tony they're trying to kill, of course, because of his work, he said.
But he lives.
Oh, yes, he lives.
But my injuries are serious, apparently.
The doctors think I might not make it.
I'm out for years.
Months.
Years.
But there's no light in the darkness.
Near death, and no light to come toward.
Suspended in darkness, I think of him.
I ache to hear his voice calling my name.
And then I hear it.
The sound is silvery.
Calling me from death.
Calling me away.
Calling me to the promises of love and its forevers and its eternities.
And I go to him.
I go to him.
I live.
And I live.
4, 2, and 3 are lit separately.
He started having his shirts made in London in 2010, when he began to make money from his patents. It was a newfangled shirt maker, run by a woman on Jermyn Street. He told me he liked the contrast of the stuffy, old boy neighborhood and the rituals of being measured and fussed over by pretty girls in slim trousers and pencil skirts. He liked the girls who wore their hair up, off their neck. It was a very Japanese preference, I thought, but he corrected me. Everything had its basis in biology. The bare neck, vulnerable to the predator, was a sign of submission, deliberately alluring. Come, it was saying, sink your teeth in. Snap the bones in my neck with a clench of your jaw. I'm yours.
My parents were on Flight 34. My brother and sister, too. Up through cumulus, cumulonimbus, stratuscumulus, until the taut balloon skin of space, and then nothing. Gone. Carbon and water.
This sizzle of artisanal sausages in the pan, from organic free-range meat raised far from the leaking reactors of Azerbaijan. Welcome to the 19th century, baby. Taste the lack of progress. Ain't it divine? And he'd crawl into bed with a shaky, dripping, oily plate, sheets blotting the heirloom fats, time blotting out memories.
I made an agreement with myself that I would not wall off my heart.
Many years ago, before Tony, I made a
I
pact.
told myself that I wouldn't let the loss of Mummy and Daddy and Wendy and Jack define me, that I wouldn't be the designated mourner.
I told myself that my heart should stay open, that I shouldn't let the loss of Mummy and Daddy and Wendy and Jack define me or mark me or frame my world, that I would always let love in, from the funniest of angles. Hence, Tony and his funny parachute into my life, his odd love.
I told myself I would be open to love despite my fear of losing that which I loved. I read it somewhere. It made sense.
I read it somewhere, that this would be a good thing.
5. Together as before.
I regained consciousness 10 months later in upstate New York on a farm that Tony said he'd bought for us. Supreme Meadows. Trust Tony to pick the most fucking Singaporean sounding farm in America.
No, I was back in Nassim Road when I came to. July of 2023.
That's later.
Yes,
That's 2 years after Algiers.
fucking shit, I can count.
I was almost completely paralyzed. My injuries were still extensive. My muscles had atrophied, 85 acres, and no legs to roam on.
I was fine. Amazingly so. One day Algiers, the next.
Amazing. Yes, isn't it amazing?
What happened with you?
It was spring. Days were warm. The nights, there was a chill wind that brought tears to your eyes. The pond was beginning to teem with life. I did my physiotherapy on its banks, gently sloping. Those fucking fish. When I was well enough, I caught 40 in one day.
Tony?
Hardly there, as usual.
As usual.
Flew in, flew out.
Our memories diverge. So one of us is lying.
No, but think. Where do they begin to diverge?
What do you mean?
At what point do we remember different things?
Obvious, really? Algiers, the bomb.
Something happened. Waking up from the coma, we're different. Before, we're the same.
Or so you claim. So you claim. We don't even fucking look the same.
I know, isn't that ironic?
Fucking Tony.
Amen to that.
Do you want to know how he died?
Yes. No.
Yes?
Yes.
6. 2 and 3 and 1 are lit separately.
At 13, I practiced my new signature endlessly. Katherine Lee. Katherine Lee. Katherine Lee. Ignoring Mrs. Chu as she blathered on about Auden and Austin and sports day, she remembered it too, though. The smell of the classroom, the faint hum somewhere of some system of light and air and current. Nothing is mine anymore. Nothing is mine alone. How the fuck is that possible? No, my name is Katherine Lee.
My name is Katherine Lee.
My name is Katherine Lee. My husband Tony would quote Rumi to me. Our body is our veil in the world. We are like a sea hidden beneath a straw. Nonetheless, what happens when the straw is taken away by insects or the monsoon winds, and what lies beneath is not sea, but a grain of crumbled black tarmac? Tony was one of the first, he would tell me proudly, to really shake off the dualism of Descartes, the idea that the mind and the body are separate. They are one, he said. Thoughts are bodies, bodies are thoughts. Thanks for that, Tony. No, really, thanks for that.
7. Lex alone on stage.
Catherine's taking it rather well. Who knows? A lot that goes on beneath the surface, subcutaneously. Phases to the problem historically. Reflection in still water was the first. It's another one of you, but it's doing what you're doing, so not so bad. More acute when mirrors are developed. Next phase, 20th century television cameras. You see yourself on TV, and it's not what you're doing, but at least it was doing what you were doing earlier when it was filmed, so, not so bad. Now, Katherine and Katherine. Nobody's doing what the other's doing. But they don't recognize each other except by talking So does that make it better or worse? Who knows, I just handled the paperwork.
2 enters.
She hasn't gone to the media.
She doesn't want publicity. She's emotional. Flinty.
Flinty.
Layers. You can chip them.
I see.
That's what Tony used to accuse me of. Splinterability.
Yeah, okay, but still, media might dig something up, you can't.
Me? I can't dig anything up. You can, though.
Start it.
I knew you would have.
The main thing is...
Why haven't we heard of her before?
Exactly.
If she's real,
If she's you,
then where are her friends?
your friends, why hasn't she been in touch with...
Yes, exactly. Helen and Eric and Vikram and Jawen.
Spoken to them about this.
Yes?
You haven't spoken to them about this.
Would you? If it were you?
You're speaking to me.
You're not my friend. You're my lawyer.
You'd like to know what I've found out?
Yes. I do apologize, by the way.
No apology required. Thing is, it checks out officially. IDNet returns it as Katherine Lee, citizen of Asian Union, born blah blah blah, you know the rest, all the same.
DNA? Retina?
Well, different.
Different.
Sure, surprised?
No, but that's obvious then. The implications. That means she's an imposter. She's stolen my identity.
Not possible.
What do you mean not possible?
It's not possible, it doesn't work that way.
It happens all the time, doesn't it? In stories, films? Imposters, identity theft.
Love it, you're so 20th century.
So she's officially Katherine Lee. What am I then?
Katherine Lee. Get over it.
8, 3, alone.
You doubt what I'm saying. You think I'm lying. Doesn't make sense to you. You can't understand it, can't process, can't comprehend it, can't deal. Do you think I give a care? Do you think I give the inside of a fuck? I don't fucking care. I twist in my own lack of belief. I roll free. I plummet. Fucking white clapboard farmhouse, fucking shaker revival furniture, beautiful fucking clean lines, and that sense of order. Oh, that sense of order. Everything in its place. Hang the chairs on the walls by the fucking pegs. Observe the craftsmanship of this plain oak hat box. Look at the wood grain, so beautiful. Flocks of fucking birds, migratory birds. Where the fuck are they going? Why are there birds left? To fly here and there, fucking pollute the sky, visual noise, fucking birds over the frozen lake, flying over my frozen bones. Stay in the house, dear, where it's warm. Take care of your health. You're still weak. The bones aren't knitting. They're not fucking responding, are they? Not to your machines. Put a new fucking optic nerve in and the world is the same. Couldn't it look better? Couldn't you have given me a vision of a better fucking world? Run it in like a new sinew, the tiniest little rubber hose, nano it. Just fucking nano me a new attitude, you fuck. Like Emily Dickinson watching the autumn foliage. No, I'm sorry, they call it fall in America because the fucking leaves fall, don't they? Emily Dickinson in a little circumscribed world, Tony. What did you do with my life, Tony? Can I have it back, please? And with you, please? Alone together in a crowd, burbling with locks of sweat and bland toil. Give it back to me, please. Give me my life back, but not this way.
9, 2 and 3 together.
Should we be analytical?
He'd like that. He would have liked that. Right.
The politics, incidentally, are horrible.
Of this? The politics?
Yes.
Oh, God, you're right.
Just when you thought it was a post-gendered world.
Tony Puppet Master.
Let's work it through.
Okay.
What's going on here?
We both think we are Katherine Lee. We both woke up at different times after the crash, at which point our memories are not the same.
This means that we are not the same person after the crash.
We don't look alike, furthermore.
But yet, I remember always having looked this way.
Me too. I look like what Katherine Lee has always looked like.
My friends didn't notice any change in me once I'd recovered from Algiers, which means I must have always looked the same to them. But you, on the other hand...
I see. I was sequestered.
Yes.
Isolated.
Which means there's something about you that's not right.
Perhaps. We can't say for sure, darling, so we cannot jump to...
We could establish it quite easily, I should think.
On the other hand, you had a few injuries, amazingly fine, did you say?
Yes.
Which suggests your body, your actual physical body, was never in Algiers. You were just told you were in Algiers. Maybe you weren't.
But I'm the one that everybody knows and accepts. I'm Katherine Lee.
Yes, and so am I. So shut up and can we get beyond that, please? So yours is a body that looks like the old Katherine Lee to other people.
And to myself.
Yes, and to yourself. And me to myself.
Whereas your body went through the explosion, quite obviously.
Thank you.
Was there maxillofacial work done?
I don't know. It wasn't mentioned.
Perhaps you did look like me, but then your features were altered so you didn't.
Then perhaps your features were altered so that you did look like Katherine Lee.
DNA-wise, we're quite different.
Yes, both of us match the records for Katherine Lee.
Because there are two different Katherine Lees.
No, they're not just two women with the same name. IDNet gives us identical details except for the biometrics.
It doesn't make any sense.
None of it makes any fucking sense.
What do we do?
I don't know.
10. Lex alone.
Inheritance law uniform throughout Asian Union. Follows Singapore law. Damn difficult, politically. The Thais did not want to listen to anyone. It's the problem with having never been colonized. Everybody else had colonialism, made them better human beings. Law still considers human beings unique. Even experimental cloned children, 25 in existence since Kentucky riots, have separate legal identities, no sharing. Case here difficult, therefore. Katherine Lee stands to inherit Tony Szeto estate of 40 billion ASEANs. Which Katherine Lee? And will she sue in Singapore or US courts? US legal system still reluctant to adopt Singapore law despite obvious benefits. US position ambiguous, therefore. Situation highly complex, therefore. Billable hours likely substantial, therefore. Fees potentially enormous, therefore.
11. 2 and 3 together.
I ran into Mrs. Tan in cold storage. Mary, you remember? Danny Tan's wife?
We disliked her shoes, didn't we?
Stilettos and iron calves gleaming in the afternoon sun.
How is she?
She was with her daughter. She asked how I was doing, and I gave me her condolences, and I thanked her for the wreath. It was an enormous arrangement, utterly vulgar, if you ask me. And then her daughter piped up. Has Uncle Tony gone to heaven? Mary said, of course he has, darling. And she shot me a nervous smile. No, but Mummy, I thought you said Uncle Tony was doing work that made Lord Jesus Christ very angry. Mary dragged off the girl, and I just stood there with Concepcion and looked at instant meats for I don't know how long.
I think Lord Jesus Christ finds this very funny.
I'm glad somebody does. I was there when he died.
Not in the next room?
No.
That's not what was reported.
Hill and Knowlton.
Still on retainer.
Why wouldn't they be?
Of course.
He was watching.
Let me guess. King William's coronation.
Yes, still.
Still? You're fucking kidding me.
Oh, he loved that show.
I know.
The pomp, the circumstance.
Fuck, I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
Yes.
You were with him.
Getting ready for bed. And he suddenly moaned softly. And then he bent forward and began to retch blood onto the bed. It must have taken only 10 seconds. I was taking my face off at the dressing table, and I heard him moan, and I turned to see the black blood gush out. And I hit the panic button, and Concepcion ran in, and then 2 of the Gurkhas from the guardhouse, but he was long gone. Long gone.
The coroner's report was real, though. What was reported?
Yes, they did a full scan on the spot. Poisoning. The Dutch, apparently.
Tony hated the Dutch.
With good reason.
They were sentenced before he was cremated. They were hanged before he was cremated.
The 3 of them had met him for dinner.
There's no doubt whatsoever it was them?
This is Singapore.
What does that mean?
What does it mean? If you're me, you should fucking know what it means.
12. 1 alone.
Why is it, Tony would ask, that atheism fails to produce great works of art? Is it because contemplation of the divine is necessary, fitting, and worthy, and somehow the only inspiration for human endeavor? You would pace the room. Or is it because you can produce great art about any lie, piling artifice upon artifice, whereas there is nothing more to say about the assertion of a simple negation? One can no more write poetry about there being no God in heaven than you can about there being no dog under the table. The truth is very, very boring. The irony, of course, was that Maxim and Brutus were always under the dining table, and they would lick the toes of guests who were always much too polite to notice.
13. 2 with Lex.
What's going on with her?
Nothing, doesn't go out, hasn't contacted anyone. Hotel room, hotel restaurant, hotel room. Room service.
She hasn't approached the press? And you mean she's not filing a claim?
Neither.
Or anything?
Neither.
What the fuck is she doing then?
Grieving?
Oh, and I'm not?
Of course you are.
You know what, Lex? You keep telling me things, burdening me with this information. Tony died in front of my eyes. Tony died. I don't need any more information than that, okay? I'm already weighed down with experience, you know? Sandbagged with sights I can't unsee. So don't compound the misery by fucking telling me things, okay?
You asked.
Well, don't fucking answer. Don't fucking tell me anything. There's no piece of information that can glue my life together. So don't fucking answer, okay? I'm sorry.
No apology required.
14. Lit separately, 2 and 3 and 1.
They are awaiting instructions. Delicate lady text from the People's Republic with double PhDs. Pad back and forth noiselessly in the control room. Instructions have not come, so they will maintain and update. Maintain and update.
At the center of all our days is death. They used to say, live long enough and you will live forever. Immortality is just around the corner. It didn't work for Mummy and Daddy and Wendy and Jack and Tony now. I find myself having conversations with him. He sits in a corner of my head like a giant toad, flicking his tongue out, crouching in darkness, potent and unrelenting. He won't leave me alone. And I don't want to be left alone. Please don't leave me alone.
I haven't spoken to anyone in 5 years who is not a medical specialist of some kind, intent on gluing one bit of meat to another bit of meat in my fragmented frame. My white-coated wardens, my glorified jailers. I cannot remember the last time I had an orgasm. To whom do I protest? Shouldn't I write in? I don't see where this life is going.
Shall we think of ourselves as twins? Then? Identical, though not, and fraternal, though not. Simultaneously. My twin sister. Myself.
Where is the street? Where is the house? Where is the girl that I once loved? There is a street, there is a house, there is a girl that I once loved. A blue balloon spinning and turning, spinning and turning over our heads, spinning and turning and wants to fall. A young man wants to steal a young woman.
Where is the street? Where is the house? Where is the girl that I once loved? There is the street, there is the house, there is the girl that I once loved.
15. 2 and 3 together.
The redecoration?
Last year.
He finally agreed.
Guilt. perhaps.
I don't know, you think?
Are you surprised?
Talking Tony.
No! I mean the decorative ski.
Well, you had to choose.
You would have had to had you been...
My whole life, this duality. Minimalist or maximalist?
I know, John Pawson or Alberto Pinto.
And in the end,
Hygiene, won out.
dazzling.
There.
All the better for you to confront loss.
Or be confronted by it.
The floorboards are fantastic, though.
I was surprised there were trees this big.
Very wide, very nice.
I missed the carpets, though.
They were sold?
Stored, I think.
The last Tabriz Mahi ever made in the finest workshop before the American incursion.
You had good taste in carpets.
And in why?
And in henchmen, for that matter.
Yes, where is the capable young man?
Lex is never late.
It's the clocks that are fast.
Time bends to him.
He masters it.
I wonder about Lex, sometimes, if there are limits to his ability as a fixer.
If you said to him, Lex, would you poison Tony for me? Would he do it?
If I said to Lex, oh, would you poison her for me? Would he do it?
If I said to him, Lex, would you have me killed? Would he make sure to bill me beforehand?
But Tony always liked him.
Oh, yes. They were the same species, Tony and Lex.
Lex enters.
Catherine, she's here.
I've asked her to be present.
Compromises confidentiality.
That's fine, Lex. Let's get on with it.
I see you're still leaving off the beginnings of your sentences, Lex.
For speed.
You've always loved language, haven't you, Lex? The violence you can do with it, the violence you can do to it.
We shouldn't be baiting you like this.
We shouldn't be baiting you like this.
Ready? There are things that cannot be uttered. There are things that must be said. I, Anthony S.K. Zito, resident 99 Nassim Road, Singapore, being of sound mind and body, begin my last will and testament typically with a delicate dance around the truth, as usual. A tango with the verifiable, an admission, a retraction, an expiation, a vindication.
That sounds about right.
Don't do dry, darling. I beg of you.
Go on, Lex.
Perhaps it gets better?
My defense is love. My motive was pure. I have loved you from the time I saw you, and I have never stopped loving you. If you are listening to this, I couldn't quite arrange my affairs so that we lived forever. My faults were many, my errors grave. It remains for you to correct them.
What?
And forgive me, and remember me always with love, I hope, and not with hatred.
What?
Love me as I've loved you, unthinking, childlike to my dying day. Ennobled by your love, elevated. Please forgive. There is a lot to forgive. Mea culpa, my darling Catherine, wherever you are, and in whatever form or forms. Mea maxima culpa.
In whatever forms?
In whatever forms.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is that supposed to mean, in whatever forms?
Should I continue?
Nothing phases you, does it?
Nothing registers, nothing fucking takes root.
We're not present to you, are we? Clouded blimps on the sonar and indistinct mass beneath the surface of the water.
Not worth being certain about.
Not worth caring about.
Didn't Tony know? Didn't he plan this?
He didn't even know.
How did he not know?
Why didn't he know?
Was it deliberate?
In whatever form?
What even happened?
What happened?
What the fuck?
Are you gonna give us some one straight fucking answer, Lex?
How much did you know, and when did you know it? Dreaded question. Due diligence needs ignorance. They go together like a horse and carriage. Used to look under rocks, leave them flat now. Beds of streams, murk. Avoid. Rise, resume, bliss. Shall I continue? Information you might like to know. Or not. Who knows?
Nonetheless and nonetheless, you are a fucking cunt, aren't you?
Shall I continue?
Yes.
Continue.
16. 1 as before.
Rumi wrote, "Surely there is a window between heart and heart." I would like to think that's true, but I'm not so sure anymore. You learn a thing or two. Tony and his white-coated cohorts had done the reverse-engineered computer modeling of the human brain years before Algiers, on the quiet. The Giuliani administration was against it, of course, but work had gone on in Chennai, Singapore, and Tel Aviv. You can never stop science. In the ICU of the Said Kotaba Hospital, the Biopolis team completed the non-invasive scanning of my brain. They installed my consciousness in this mainframe. Tony pulled strings. He's good that way. They're supposed to download me into a new body once Tony has worked out how to grow a new one. But here I wait, Tony. Why do you not come to see me? Where is the girl you once loved, Tony? Here is the girl you once loved. Boxed, humming gently, juiced, cogitating hollow in the earth, awaiting your caress.
17. 3 with Lex.
You're surprised I'd come to see you? I don't know why. I'm trying to find some sort of footing, a place to stand.
Locus standi for a civil suit?
No, literally. A means to put one foot in front of another to get to Wednesday.
2,100 hours.
And beyond.
Sure.
How do I do it, Lex?
Legislation lags behind technological change by 5 years, on average. Personal opinion, not in professional capacity, lags behind social change 25 years. But when technology changes society, is legislation faster? No. Murder is the old murder. Motive, weapon, evidence, presumption. But murder is better now. There's less to it. It's breezy. Indirect.
Is that right?
It still needs a victim, however.
Yes. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're not going to answer. You're going to stand there like the capable young man you are and be very intelligent. Did Tony tire of me? Could he not bear to look at my smashed self? Flaps of skin hanging loose, bones in shards, muscle turned to ash. I see his smiling eyes. Is that why he made her? Or were they parallel programs? The funding was in place, why not just give it a go? Just run both and see what gets results first. They couldn't bear to do away with me? Or was she a mistress, remade into a wife, overwritten with my mind, soul stapled onto soul? After years of seclusion, why did they bring me news of her on that day? Did you issue the orders, Lex? How is it we know we live? Why does the heart beat so fiercely? Descartes wasn't the first, apparently. St. Augustine said something similar, but it's different. Si falor sum, the saint said, if I am deceived, I am. I exist because I have been lied to. There's the heart of the matter. If I am deceived, I am.
Tony used to say, only the weak look for explanations. The strong accept things for what they are.
You loved him too, didn't you? In your own way.
Let me know your preferred billing address.
18. Lex, 2, and 3 are in the control room in the basement 6 facility, standing in front of 1.
We're here.
Is this the right thing to do?
Is there a choice?
We don't have to.
It's what he wanted.
Why is that still relevant, I wonder?
Yes, after everything.
After each new outrage, after each new shock,
After each assault on the foundations of our belief,
we return to
we
this.
return to him.
How could it be otherwise?
So we're here.
It won't be easy.
Nothing is easy.
Yes,
I'm here with you.
we're here together.
Program auto start in 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Who's there?
Katherine,
Yes, who is it?
we're here to visit you.
Who are you?
My name is Katherine Lee.
My name is Katherine Lee.
We are you.
We are each other.
What? This wasn't supposed to happen.
Correct.
Tony? Where is Tony?
A terrible mistake has been made.
We're here to tell you.
We've come to say
We're
goodbye.
here to tell you it's over. This is the last cycle.
You'll be free.
I want to live. Bring me back. Please. I beg of you. Give me a body. Please. I beg of you.
Please, Katherine, it's for the best.
I want to visit the graves of Wendy and Jackie Boy and Mummy. Oh, Mummy. Daddy. Where are you? I want to make love to Tony before dawn. Where are you, Tony? Why aren't you here? I want to run and feel the ground firm beneath my step. I want to brush my teeth, vomit, and sing, get a haircut. A very expensive haircut. I want a very expensive haircut. Please? Please give me back my body. Where did you get yours? Why did they give it to you? Why didn't I get to go?
It's not possible, Katherine. There's no difference between mind and body.
Tony says that.
Then where does my pain come from? I think, therefore I am. Please. Please, I beg you. Where does my pain come from? Where is my loneliness located? Where do I find it? Can I cut it out with a knife, like an apple core? Can't I do that?
60 seconds.
Delete.
Confirm?
Delete.
Please? Where is Tony, please? Please? This isn't happening. This is sick. He wouldn't let this happen.
He did. He was fallible.
Please don't kill me. I want to see Tony again. I want him to hold me and tell me everything will be all right. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No apology required. Deleted.
Lights fade to black. 19, 2 and 3 lit separately.
Venice is Atlantis. Tokyo is rubble. I will get a facial. Extracts of Namibian desert herbs, New Zealand spring water, 90 minutes. I will drink dark, sweet cups of Greek coffee and smile at the waiter with his curly black hair. I will admire large dogs as they pass me on the pavement. I will buy a nice leather-bound journal and look at the empty pages. Is that how I go about?
I never had confidence in my body. I didn't believe in the body, even before Algiers. My body was always letting me down, somehow, building up lactic acid in the muscles when I sprinted, painting the narrow passages of the lungs with mucus, so I choked and wheezed, pulling buildings and trees and the faces of lovers, even more out of focus as the years went by. I got fit. I had eye surgery. I had gene therapy for the allergies. I renovated myself until I was glossy, the wife of an important man. I would sit in the back of the car and look through bulletproof windows at the laborers gathering in the parks. We would drive quickly over the corpses of dead birds, black bundles everywhere, soft under the tires. I would have unpasteurized buffalo mozzarella and heirloom tomatoes. I would wait for Tony to unlock the mysteries of life.
20, 2 and 3 together.
I met a man whose grandfather had married a woman. They lived happily, and then she died. He married the woman's sister, and they lived happily. Then he died.
The point to this being,
We can perform a sort of narrative judo, as you put it. Turn the momentum of the story against itself. We can live here as sisters who were married to the same man. Be here for each other until we get old and die. Take the place of our siblings, our husband, our parents. Be our own comfort. Cut the core out of our loneliness like the core of an apple and throw it into the hard, sandy earth to dry.
No. The human element gets in the way. You know very well we couldn't explain it to anyone else. I have another life to start. It only works if there's an ocean or two interposed.
And so it's back to the farm you love to hate? The wilderness? Leer on the heat?
They have cities, apparently.
There are no second acts in American lives.
Fitzgerald.
Hemingway's bitch.
It's the place for the second acts of foreigners' lives, though. They either kill you or they sanctify you.
I've given instructions to Lex. I'm splitting Tony's estate with you. What? There's a lot of money, as you know. I'm giving you half. You should be able to buy half of New Jersey with it. Perhaps I'll buy the other half.
I don't want money.
Neither do I. Neither do I. I don't want his fucking money. I want the man I loved for almost 30 years. You want the man you loved for almost 30 years. And we want him before. Alone. Perfect. We want him before we came to know who he was and what he did. But the boatman has been paid. His journey's almost done. The river calm, the oar noiseless. No moon down there, and no return. We stand on the banks of the sunlit world and look out as the dark horizon swallows up the boat. Neither of us is going to get him. There is no holding his hand. There is no filling the void.
It's very kind of you to offer.
You do the same, Catherine.
Yes, Catherine, I suppose I would.
3 takes 2's hand. End of play.